She would prefer a clean win, of course, more delegates going into the national convention than Obama. But if she falls short, then her only chance would be those superdelegates going against the voters, possibly, and handing her the nomination anyway. Well, a new poll shows that 55% of Democrats would find the system flawed or unfair if that happened. And 20% say if superdelegates make the difference for Clinton, they would vote for someone else or not at all. So would superdelegates actually hurt the party if they make Hillary the nominee? Democratic strategist Bob Beckel joins me now. Hi, thanks for being with us.
Hey, Patty, how are you?
Is it likely for the superdelegates to go against the popular vote and pick Clinton?
Well, at their own peril. I mean, look, superdelegates were created in the early 80s, and I was there when we did it. We did it because there weren't many party officials in the previous convention, so they wanted to increase the number of party officials. But frankly, the reason we did it was I was running the Mondale campaign, and the superdelegates would have been for us as opposed to other people. But as it turns out, that year, in 1984, we needed superdelegates to put us over the top. But here was the selling point. We won more delegates, pledged delegates. We won more votes. We won more states, and we won more districts, all of which so far Barack Obama qualifies as having done. It would be very difficult, and it was then and it will be now, for a superdelegate to go against the wishes of their districts or their states. So if they did it, they'd have to have a very good reason to do it, and that reason would have to be that he's not electable. I mean, that's the only reason that you really have superdelegates. If they decide, they find out all of a sudden you've nominated or may nominate an axe murderer, then you're there to overturn the decision. But in this case, without some very, very compelling reason, I don't know how they do it.
Well, and Hillary is trying to make one of those arguments for why the superdelegates should choose her, saying Obama can't now win the general election in the wake of this controversy over Obama's pastor, the Reverend Wright. Does she have a point?
I don't think she has a point unless there's, and by the way, I would be very careful. I don't want to give the Clinton campaign a piece of advice here, but and I don't have a dog in this fight, but I'm telling you to stay away from, if you're a Democrat, stay away from this Wright issue, because it's something that in the black community is a very serious issue, and one that Barack Obama, whatever else you think of him, I thought yesterday was one of the best speeches I've ever heard on race and politics in America, and I've been in this business 30 years. She has a case, I think, only if we find out, for example, that Barack Obama, who having said he was not in the church pews when some of these comments that Wright has been publicized as making, that in fact he was there. She wasn't telling the truth. Something like that might make a case, but I'll tell you, absent that, trying to say simply because he was his pastor is, I think, too weak a case to make to say he's unelectable.
All right. Hillary's other argument is that she's more electable based on the fact that she won more big states. Now, you say this is absurd. Why?
Oh, it's so absurd. Well, first of all, these are Democratic primaries we're talking about here. We're not talking about the general election. And take Ohio, for example. That's one of the places where people said, look, here's a good example. You know, she can win a big state like Ohio, and he can't. Well, first of all, there were Democrats who went out to vote in Ohio, and into some independents and Republicans. But the Democrats that voted for her, particularly white males, for example, that everybody says Barack Obama can't win. Well, I went back and looked at those precincts. And the fact is that they voted, those same precincts voted Democratic the last 16 years, the last 4 presidential races. So the real question is not whether he could get the votes that voted for her. The question is, could she get the votes that voted for him? That is to say, young people, blacks, independents, and some Republicans. Certainly blacks and young people will vote for, but the question is at what level, what intensity level are they going to come out for, and certainly not at the level they would come out for him. So I think that it's a very weak argument, but a lot of press and pundits are buying it, and which goes to show you they don't spend much time around campaigns. They should go out and try them once in a while. It'd be helpful if you're going to analyze them.
All right, Bob Beckel, Democratic strategist. Thanks as always.
My pleasure. Thank you.
So how would you feel if your party's superdelegates overrode the vote?